In this lecture, we will create the problem which will eventually lead to builder pattern and the solution that the builder pattern gives us. To do that, go to core patterns project, right click on source folder, new class, call it HTTP client, and the package name is com.bharat.patterns.builder. Finish. The HTTP client class will have a few fields starting with the private string, the HTTP method that wants to be used, private string URL, private string username for security, private string password that needs to be passed in, private string headers, the HTTP headers that the client wants to send, and last one, private string the body of the request, which could be JSON, etc. Now let's generate a constructor so that all these fields can be initialized during instantiation. Go to source, generate constructor using fields, select that option, pick all the fields. By default they are selected. I want it to be generated after the last field, after body, generate. And we have a constructor. Now to create an instance of this, we'll be going to a new test class that we'll create. Right click on the package, new class, call it test, add a main method, format it, and within the test you will create a new HTTP client and pass in the HTTP method, which can be get a URL, say http://test.com, username. I don't want to use security, so what I will do is null. And for password, again, I don't want to use the security, so it is null. And in most cases, I don't want the headers, so that is null. And the body, depending on the method I am using, this can be null. For HTTP GET, we usually pass query parameters, etc. Typically, in case of POST, we might pass in some JSON data, depending on the kind of application. So this can be null as well. Now, if you look at this, any developer who looks at this code will be very confused. By looking at this constructor, he will not know what these nulls correspond to unless he goes and checks the class itself and looks at these fields. This is not very readable and maintainable code. That is where the builder pattern comes in. When we have a requirement to create an object, but we want to initialize certain fields of the object while instantiating it, and we don't need all of them at any given point in time. We might need all of them, but it gives us the option, the builder pattern gives us the option of building whatever we want, leaving the rest, and the code will be much more readable instead of confusing others like this. So we'll accomplish all that in the next lecture.